What's going on, YouTube? What's going on, Facebook? This is Deep Third coming to you guys live as we do every single Friday. Outside of a special occasion, all three of us are going to be here coming to y'all talking about sports. So tonight we got a crazy show. I just want to start out. We appreciate the love. Please head to what I would tell you, our YouTube page, the Deep Third Podcast, and hit that like. We appreciate all the love and all the likes that we get on Facebook. Um, if you guys can just head over there at some point, even if it's after the show, you can check out some content from previous weeks. We're going to be updating some things, changing some things on the page. So I think you're going to like what you see. But if you can go over there, hit that like and subscribe, you'll be notified, even if you're not on Facebook, to catch us live. It'll hit you up and give you a notification that we on. So we appreciate all the love. I'm gonna throw it to Dante and Fade, and then it'll come back to me for my fresh thought.
Yo, man, it's DP, man. You know what it is. Hey, we appreciate you guys jumping on. We have an exciting show for you guys. We ready to get into it, man. Welcome.
What's going on, everybody? Fabe, your last third of the Deep Third Sports Podcast. Thank you guys for hanging out with us on Friday night. We know that you could be anywhere else, but you guys coming in and spending some time with us, so we appreciate that. Make sure you guys stay tuned for the entire episode. As in the last segment of the show, we got a segment just for you guys called Deep Thought. So it's where you guys put in your questions, comments, any feedback, anything like that, and we give you guys our deep thought on it. So make sure you stick around for that.
Oh
All
yeah.
right. So listen, I'm just gonna give you a sneak preview of what we're gonna be talking about tonight. So the first topic that we have on deck, we're gonna be talking about the NFL draft. However, we're gonna be discussing whether who you feel more comfortable drafting. Do you feel more comfortable drafting a player that had parents that played, fathers that played in the NFL, or someone that's just stepping into the NFL? They don't really know the business. So, what do you think? The second topic, we're going to talk about Eddie George. Eddie George just became the new head coach at TSU. And what does this mean, and what does the future of black college football look like with ex NFL players becoming head coaches? So, with that being said, we're gonna get right into Jarrell's fresh thought. So stay tuned.
All right, y'all. So it's heading back on this side. Listen, this week it's more of a sad. Um, as many of you know, the Denver Nuggets, who I would say last year, um, in the bubble, shocked the world. Um, I'm not gonna say shocked the world, shocked the NBA um, with how well that they played. And last week, we found out that Jamal Murray tore his ACL. I should say the beginning of this week, we heard that he tore his ACL. A few weeks ago, about a month ago, possibly, we just had the conversation of, does the regular season really matter? And the reason I kind of bring this up is when you look at it, the Nuggets were getting blown out. Game was getting out of hand. Probably about 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes before he tore his ACL, um, he was kind of grabbing at the other leg. At one point, I think he grabbed a rebound and kind of like stopped. It didn't even come up the court, just passed the ball. And then the ACL on the other leg goes. Um, as much as I love the regular season, the Denver Nuggets now are not going to be in the postseason and having Jamal Murray available to them. So I'll go back just briefly to the point. The regular season is well and good, but I don't care if AD's got to sit out until the first round of the playoffs. LeBron's got to sit out until the first round of the playoffs. Kawhi Leonard's got to sit out to the first round of the playoffs. What matters is in crunch time, when money is made, when rings are won. It's not going to be in the regular season as long as you know that you're going to be somewhere between 1 and 8. What say y'all?
Dante.
I would probably say, man, I think it still does matter. Like the regular season matters. Um, I would say probably more so um, for the fans, and I'll say this is the reason why. So I definitely believe that it matters to the players and stuff like that because I mean for the most part you definitely want to be in the top tier when it comes to the seeding because you don't want to be number 8 playing against number 1. That's a rough road. Um, but I think that for the NBA it means a lot because that's how those guys are getting paid. So if you have a bunch of people sitting out all the time and they're coming to see LeBron, they come to see KD, and maybe this family they can only afford maybe 2 tickets out of the year because the tickets are expensive, and you know you go there twice and only one time you get to see them play. Man, that's huge, and so maybe now people are just like forget it. I can just watch it from home. I don't know if they playing tonight anyways. So I think the regular season still is important. However, I think that the Nuggets they mishandled it. They should have took them out. The game was out of hand. It was out of control. There was no way that they're going to come back and win. They should just put them out and sat them. But at the same time, we don't know what conversation they had on the court. I mean, on the sideline with the coach. Maybe he could have been like, "Coach, don't pull me out. I don't want to come out." So it's so many different things that kind of go in behind the scenes. And when you're not in there in the locker room, you're not in the huddle, you don't really know what's being said. The only thing you see is a finished product. And so at the end of the day, the only thing that we see is they were getting blown out, and now he's out for the season and for a little bit of next year because he was playing in the game and he tore his ACL and he had no reason being in the game. But we don't know why he was still in the game. So, but to wrap it all up, I think that it still does matter. The regular season still does matter. Fade?
Yeah, I'll say
Okay.
the regular season matters. I just don't think, unfortunately, this conversation will ever go away because the season is so long. It just makes me pose the question: why don't you hear this or get this conversation in baseball, right? Which has 100 and was it 182 games, right, for baseball? So I mean, they're playing every night too and stuff. So I don't know. Is baseball as physical as basketball? No. And I know the pitchers necessarily don't go every night. I get that.
Yeah.
So I just think, like Steve said in chat, I won't say the players. I won't say they're getting softer. I'll say they're more aware. I feel they're more aware and they're trying to protect their interest a lot more. It's all about, brand and all of this stuff. I'm not going to be seen if I'm hurt. Okay, if I'm taking rest, I can come out, play a quarter or play a little bit in the game and then okay, I'm resting. I'm still available. I'm still, to play. I'm not hurt and not getting any exposure period whatsoever. So I feel like players just more so want to protect their interest above everything else.
I can
Mm,
see that. I can see that angle. I can see that angle.
mm,
I mean, so let me
I
ask you
can
this
too.
then. Um, is that just being a smart businessman?
I mean, yeah. I ultimately, I mean, yeah, like you alluded to, Dante, that hurts the fans. Maybe I'm a LeBron fan living in Phoenix and he's coming. Well, I mean, I know he would play in that, but you know what I'm saying, like a game that he wouldn't play in. I don't know. I can't think of a bad team right now off the top of my head that maybe he wouldn't play. Well, LeBron don't really sit out, but let's say I'm a
LeBron
Kawhi
didn't sit
fan.
out.
Let's
Stop
say I'm a
that. He didn't
Kawhi
sit out.
fan and
There you
Kawhi's
go.
coming to I don't know who's Charlotte, and he's like, he sits out. But I live in Charlotte. I want to go to the game and see him. He said, so yeah, as a fan, it hurts. But like you said, I get the business decision behind it. Whether they win or lose against Charlotte, it may not do anything for them. Period. Anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that.
Yeah.
That's a hard one. That's a hard one. Go ahead, Gerald. We heard you comment.
I mean, at the end of the day in the NBA, the season don't start until the postseason. I look at it the way the Spurs used to do it. And I'm gonna be real quick because obviously this is not one of our topics, but this is like, but when you look at the Spurs and what they did for Tim Duncan, they're the originators of the load management, and they did it to extend Tim Duncan's career. So we can get into this deeper on another show at another time, but my thought process is, would you take LeBron James for 25 years and have him missing some games here and there? Or would you rather take LeBron for 17 years because he's playing all these, what I would call meaningful games, but then he's got to play the postseason. So when you think about how many more games LeBron has played, it's absolutely ridiculous to think about. He's in the postseason every year that he's on the court. So he's playing another almost season, another quarter of a season.
Yeah,
so if you multiply that by
playoffs.
His almost 20 some years, and that's what I'm talking about. I think it was 9 years in a row or something like that, 7-8 years in a row that one of his teams was in the finals. So you're playing an extra quarter of a season. So every 4 years you're playing an extra year. So would I rather him load management in a back-to-back game in which you're playing the Memphis Grizzlies? Don't nobody care. Now, granted, if he's going to Memphis, I got you. I feel you. But at the end of the day, when I buy that ticket, I'm very hopeful that LeBron James plays, but I'm not going to be that upset if LeBron James doesn't play, because all I know is that when the postseason comes, I'm going to get my LeBron. Not, oh, well, LeBron's hurt and he can't play. And then you see this 60% of LeBron, and it's like, dang, like, okay, well, y'all shouldn't even have been there. So again, we'll get into it deeper. I think there's so many avenues, and there's what I would say a valid argument for them to play. But I think you've seen LeBron in the last couple years really put his stamp on and be like, if I'm healthy, I'm going to play. And that I can respect. But I also got to think about, I just hope that all those miles didn't attribute to the injury that he just had. Now, again, I think it was a freak accident, but could it be the body breaking down? Because if y'all remember, LeBron James was Iron Man. Mm-hmm. LeBron James was never injured. When he got to the Lakers and he was playing those heavy minutes his first year, had that hamstring. Mm-hmm. AD went out. He started playing some heavier minutes. Ankle goes out. That's all I'm saying. I need my LeBron. GOAT, greatest of all time. So I need him to be around a little bit longer. Shut that Jordan talk up. Go ahead, Dante.
All right, man. We're not even going to go down that road because we'll be here for 2 days. So let's get into the topics, man. So for the first topic, we're talking about the NFL, man. There are some cats that's coming out that they pops played in the NFL and they was nice. So we want to talk about, like, if you are GM or you're an owner and you maybe the father played on your team, and you're going through the draft, do you draft the son or do you just draft somebody else that has nothing or has no knowledge of how the business works, that's not being taught the business? Do you draft that person or do you draft the person that's been breded and that is being probably groomed since they was a child to get to where they at? So what's y'all thoughts?
I love this question. I just love this question. Well, I'm going to go at it from the perspective of this year with the prospects that I look at. We have J.C. Horn, South Carolina, whose dad is Joe Horn, Mr. Cell Phone for the Saints. We have Asante Samuel, whose son played at Florida State, and we have Patrick Surtain, who his son played at Alabama lockdown corner. When I'm looking, if I was a GM and I'm trying to view this from a GM's eyes, not just a fan's perspective, as a GM, you want to, when you're drafting somebody high, we're talking about all of these guys possibly going in the first round. So when you're talking about early picks, I want a guy that I believe that I can trust, right? I want somebody that I believe is going to put in the work, because when you get to the NFL, it's not college. When you go from every level, the windows are huge when you're in high school. The windows get a little bit smaller when you get to college. And then the windows get super tight when you get to the NFL. So when I look at it, I want a guy that knows the game. And what better than you have all pro fathers who played in the league, who understand not just the game, but also the business of the game, the rigors of the game, the rigors of a season. Think about it. You go from playing, 12 games, possibly, in the NCAA, maybe 13, maybe 14, to now you got to go play 16 against grown men who, let's be real, they talk about bounty gate. All these cats got bounties on their heads, because I remember Ray Lewis. Dante, you probably remember Ray Lewis, rookie running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers, came up in that middle and he sent that boy home. That's money. I put you out of a game. That's money for me, not for you, for me. So I want to make you look as dumb as you can. So when I'm looking at these corners that are coming out, and I see J.C. Horn and I see Patrick Surtain, I'm going to look at them and be like, all right, let me see their game. Let me see what they did in college. Let me see how they stack up against the competition. But because their parents, their father, played in the league, they're going to jump up just slightly ahead of anybody that they're either just behind or the same as. Because again, we're talking about projecting into the NFL. And what I can project is Joe Horn was a baller. He may not have been the fastest, he may not have been the biggest, but he was a baller. Asante Samuel was a baller. Patrick Surtain was a baller. And the last thing I'm going to say is this. Antoine Whitfield's son played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
You know it, yeah.
Man, shut your mouth. So when they were in the playoffs, I felt like they slid it in there, but I caught it. And they were saying how he would talk to his dad during the week, and his dad would be telling him, hey, you might want to look for this, or you might want to look for this. You know, receivers, when they're in the league, this is how they're breaking off their routes. This is how they're tipping their hand. And that knowledge right there is all that it's about, because everybody is athletic when you get to the NFL. We can say that the Browns used to be scrubs, but at the end of the day, let the Browns go up against any college team. They'd have blew them out of the water. Alabama, they'd have blew them out of the water. So everybody's decent. It's about, do you have it up here to become great? Do you have that Tom Brady in you to become great? I'm going to outsmart you in every aspect of the game. So for me personally, chalk it up. I'm taking family. I don't care if it's Clay Matthews, where his grandfather played, and all the Clay Matthews. Come on. You already know. what's the brothers? One plays for the Chargers, the other plays for the Niners. Bosa, the Bosa brothers. Come
Yeah.
on, come on. One Bosa was already in. Nah, come on, come on. I'm gonna draft the other one just as high. I already seen that motor. Come on. J.J. Watt. Come on now. J.J. Watt. Too
Three
hot
of
to
them.
trot.
3 of them.
His brother. Come on. Come on. Give them all to me. If that was me, give them all to me. They already know the game. They already know the game. They already know what it takes. Go ahead, Fade. Prove me wrong, Fade. Prove me wrong. Or prove me right.
No, I actually see it different. I actually would go with the player. So, are you, because you said you're looking at it, if their talent is the same, then you would go with the player, the family side of it.
Yes.
And I could see that. Do you feel, because I want to have a real example to be able to explain it. Out of all the players you named, I don't know all the draft players or who's available, but out of all the players you named, is there anyone that comes to mind where somebody in that same position is better right now, coming out of college? Like,
So for corner, and his name is escaping me. He's Virginia Tech. I cannot remember his name. I would say if everybody was even and there was no family, he would probably be my top corner if I was looking for a cover corner, personally. And you know what? I got to
so
look his name up because I
if you
can't
had
I
to
can't be
pick,
giving
right,
like half knowledge.
if you head coach of Ravens and you got your pick, both of them available, you still going with family.
I'm I'm still going with family
Okay.
because I know translation to the NFL is going to be smoother. Um, it's Caleb Farley. Caleb Farley from Virginia Tech. So
Okay.
I apologize about that.
That boy fast too, boy. That boy fast.
See, so
Yeah.
you, so it sounds like on a talent level, maybe not miles ahead, but maybe on a talent level, he's probably there. So for me, that's where it would be enough for me. Where the only thing where you're like judging it like, okay, the family thing kind of tips it in the other guy's favor. For me, talent tips in the favor, but where I would lose the talent. So me thinking as a GM, I know the NFL. I've heard the NFL. They have these programs for when rookies come in and trying to show them how life's gonna be. Blah blah blah. I get that. Probably me as a GM, I may have my own program, players, whatever, trying to get players acclimated into the NFL. I'm gonna have something like that on my team so that they're hearing from me or at least hearing from the team and learning how it is because I get it. That's a huge transition. You're in the spotlight now. Now you got to learn how to manage your money so you don't go broke because you probably haven't gotten the financial education that other guys have gotten. So I'm
Mm.
gonna trust my process to do that, to handle that business side for my players, and pick somebody with the athletic ability. Where it would stop me, so I would pick the talent over the family if the talent doesn't have a super troubled back history. So if I do, you do your due diligence, your DD, those out there that like stocks, you do your DD on a player. If okay, couple things happen, whatever, growing up, stupid kid, fine. But like if you hanging out with the wrong crowds, if you do okay, I don't know if I can back that as far as talent.
Mm.
Unless it's just like generational, oh my god, this is a once in a lifetime player. Hope he changes his life. But that would be the only thing that would stop me is if the talent had a super troubled past. But I would pick the talent over the family because I believe that me being the GM would have a good program hopefully have some good players that could show them the way. Mind you, I get it would be easier with the family. I definitely get that it'd be easier, but I'd be willing to take that risk because of that talent.
Mm. And Dante, I know you get ready to go, but so Fabe, I would even go as far as if I had a second round grade on Asante Samuel or Patrick Surtain or J.C. Horn, and I had a first round top 5 grade on Caleb Farley, I'm still picking J.C. Horn,
Wow.
Patrick Surtain, or Asante Samuel. That's how much I believe, because again, talent is great, it's beautiful, but I already know what translation looks like through bloodlines. And as y'all know, listen, when them bloodlines is strong, them babies be coming out looking like Dantea, looking like Danteas, little
What?
Dantea, little
What's
Danteas. Nah, but seriously, like when bloodlines are strong, you see kids and all of them may favor one side or the other because that bloodline is strong. So when
Yeah.
I know that bloodline is there, you know, I'm good. Now, Fabe, thank you for not talking about Thaddeus Moss, because Thaddeus Moss, even though he's Randy Moss's son, is some boo boo. But we ain't gonna talk about that. We ain't gonna talk about that. Thank you, Dante. Don't talk
I knew
about
the
him.
name when I saw. I'm like, I know that name. I can't. Okay.
Yep.
I think it depends. So okay, I'm in the middle of both of you guys. So I'm gonna make you guys hold hands like in kindergarten. I think that it depends on the player, because I think that you have some cats that they're gonna succeed and they're gonna be great regardless on who their parents are. Because I look at it from this way. So I think you have some people that, and this is a lot of the people that try to get to the league, they so hungry to get their family out of the situations that they in. So for instance, like a Ray Lewis. So back in the day, you could have said, "Oh well, you got Ray Lewis versus this cat from Florida, from Ohio State, and his dad was a Hall of Famer." But now looking at it now, you'd be like, "Dang, if you didn't pick Ray Lewis and you had a chance to, where could your team have been?" And so I think it depends on the individual, man, because you got some cats that come in, man, and they just hungry. They're gonna do whatever it takes. They're gonna do they're gonna do the things that they're supposed to do because they're trying to get their family out of the situation that they're in. And then you have some cats that, that it's like, even though I know Johnny Football, his none of his parents have made it, but you do have people that have that attitude, like, "Oh, I'm good, I'm golden. My parents have money, I got money, I come from money. So if this don't work out, oh well, I can bounce back. I got
Yeah.
something else I can fall on."
And he was like a
So you have that.
superstar in
Mm.
college. I think that messed him up. Like I said, he was hanging out with celebrities in college.
Yeah, yeah. And so you have some cats that, and like I said, that's why I was saying that. Yeah, I know his parents didn't play in the league. However, you have people that have that mentality. I already seen this. I already been there. Um, like for instance, you had Chris Carter's son. He can't even make it in the NFL. His dad, Hall of Famer. He had all, and I know he went. His dad coached him in high school at Pump Behind. What's that stupid school? What's the
St.
school?
Thomas Aquinas.
St.
Yeah.
Thomas Aquinas. That Pump Behind school. I'm sorry, St. Thomas. Y'all just beat up on Manatee sometimes, so I got a soft spot. But yeah. So his dad
But I'm
coached
trying
him
to
in high
coach him.
school. His dad coached him up in college, I'm sure as well, and he couldn't even get in the league. So you have it on both sides. I think it just depends on the player. I also think it depends on the position as well. But that's my take. I mean, I think that you can have it on both sides, but I do see what you're saying that if it was neck and neck and you had to make a decision, that's probably where I would just say, okay, we gonna take a shot in the dark and go with this guy because of his parents or whatever. So I can see it that way. But for the most part, for me, if I was a GM, man, I'm just going through and I'm trying to pick the best player. And if your dad played and he was a Hall of Famer, but you're just not the best, bro, I see you in the 5th round.
I could agree with the position. Like if I'm needing a quarterback and say there was a Manning available, I'm probably gonna pick him if it's a Manning.
That's why I didn't even bring it up because I've thought that would have been too easy. But there's a little Manning that's coming up, and he's going to be the best one.
Really?
Yeah, I think
who's
yeah, it's I think it's Peyton.
Tennessee.
No. He's not there yet. He's in high school. He was a freshman this year, I think.
Oh, freshman.
He was either a freshman or a sophomore, and he's mobile, but he still got the same arm. It's the
and they probably put a football in his hand when he came out the womb.
Yeah, I feel like it's the oldest brother possibly. The one that played receiver. Yeah, I'm almost certain. But listen, it's
so the one that was the fastest out of all of them.
Yep. But I also think, again, you got Archie Manning, you got Peyton, you got Eli. I think period, you have a ridiculous plethora when it comes to that. Now, my last thing for you guys, would it mean something different from the quarterback position compared to a standard position player?
Like I don't think I understand your question. Like if they're
so you said
if your dad played in the league,
quarterback and his son
and you play quarterback,
he plays quarterback. So basically, like the Manning brothers.
Yes. Would it matter that it's that position over any other position?
Quarterback, yeah.
Because
you get quarterback right, you set for 15 years. You get it wrong, you probably out of a job.
You be like the Browns.
Yeah.
But Dante, you ain't even come at me, bro. I thought you was coming with Oliver Luck and Andrew Luck. I thought he walked away from the game.
To be honest,
he's like, I got enough money. I'm good.
Yeah, for real.
I'm about to say, to be honest, even at the quarterback position, it still depends on the player. Because you look at it, like, for instance, you got what's his name? Hardaway. Tim Hardaway Jr. All right. Dad was a beast. Tim Jr., yes. He's a beast too. But he don't got the same dog as his dad. Jordan kids.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they don't got the same dog.
It's hard to have that dog when you was fed. They was fed. Everybody, exactly. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Everybody else, they was hungry.
So for me, it goes to the person because just because I'm raised by this dude that was a monster on the court, now I could say like LeBron's son. Now he you might have to draft him. D-Wade's son, you might have to draft him because they kind of cut from the same cloth. However, it just depends because everybody doesn't translate. Like Jordan kids, they went to freaking UCF, and I don't even think they got on the court like that. And everybody thought it was gonna be the next Jordan, but they just didn't have the same work. They didn't want it like his dad, like the dad wanted. So that's why I say it depends on the kid because You have some cats that come in and they just want it for whatever reason, because somebody said they couldn't do it, you know. And then also too, you have the kids that coming in or they're trying to play the sport because they dad played it, and so now they trying to walk in his shoes, and they just can't live up to it, and they can't deal with the pressures. But then you have the kid that don't have nobody like that. He don't. What pressure does he have other than I got drafted in the first round? That's it. I don't got no daddy that was in the league, so I don't have nobody comparing me.
So you're 100% correct. Where the only part that I'll poke into is I'm not I'm not necessarily looking for the dog. I'm not looking for Jordan's kids to be Michael Jordan when it comes to how he was a dog. What I'm looking for, if his kids were good, do they show the traits? Because I think if they would have been good, maybe not the dog, maybe not that I'm going to now say it, the Mamba mentality, the Jordan mentality that I'm going to kill you, but that doesn't mean that they might not be the best player in that draft. They just don't have to have that. And I say that for LeBron. LeBron's not an alpha male. Now his son, I feel like he's going to be an alpha male. Now put it this way: LeBron's an alpha male, but he's not an alpha male like give me the ball last shot. His son, on the other hand, he wants the ball anytime he can get it, and he's not afraid to put it up at the last second. So I think that mentality is different for him. But if Kobe's child was coming up, I wouldn't expect Kobe's child to have that Mamba mentality, even though that came from Kobe Bryant, because not everybody's born and bred with that chip on the shoulder. Tom Brady's kids, if they ever played, I wouldn't expect them to have that chip. That chip came on his shoulder from personal experience. So you're right, but I would look at the talent level, number one, and then number two, are they so close that I could just tip the favor to be like, you know what? Intangibles are similar. This is similar. They might be a little bit slower, but at the end of the day, they're going to understand the game more. And Dante and Fabe, you know, because you played, when you play in that type of sport, sometimes you got to anticipate what's getting ready to happen. Mm-hmm. And some people have it and some people don't. Some people can be Michael Vick. Some people can be Michael Vick and don't get into a playbook and just murder the league. But what happened when there was nothing left for him, right? When up, yeah. And that's what happens. He could have been so much greater had he have worked hard. And I don't want that in my facility. I love Michael Vick. I loved Michael Vick. When I realized that, after that, I was like, I'm still a fan, but it made me mad. Like, dude, you could have destroyed the league. You already destroyed the league. You could have put every African American dual threat running quarterback, and you could have put it on notice that not only am I going to be a great athlete playing the position of quarterback, but I also can be the smartest.
Yeah. Boy, I used to love to watch him. Man, he used to just flick his wrist, and it was just gone. Oh my gosh, it was just so effortless.
All natural.
So effortless.
All natural. Greatest of all time. You could have been talking about him as the greatest of all time.
Yeah, because the league was not ready for him at that time. They were not ready.
They definitely wasn't ready. They wasn't ready for that. As Barry
Go ahead, Dante, bring the juice.
All right, so for the next question, man, topic. Eddie George, the former Tennessee Titan, or actually they was the Texans at the time, or the Oilers.
Oilers. He was still with them when they were Titans. But yeah, they was Oilers.
Yeah, he was with the Titans too, yeah. But he just became the new head coach at TSU, Tennessee State University. So what does this mean for the future of HBCUs when it's coming to football?
Go ahead, Mitchell.
I think it's
Or I can take it,
great.
whichever one.
I think it's great, and I think it's good for the future because you're getting players that were in the game, understood the game, had success, and stuff like that. And they're able to come in and teach some of these guys really, really how to do it and also bring more notoriety to these HBCUs to, I'm sure Eddie George and the Deons, they still have their connections in the leagues, coaches, whatever relationships they might have had to be able to tell other teams, scouts, whatever, yeah, this guy's good, this guy's that. So I think it's just presenting more opportunities for players, and I think it's presenting more opportunities for them as coaches. I get that it it sucks because I'm sure they would love to go to the Texases and the Alabamas and the Miamis. It's just not working out that way. But I think if they can begin to make a foothold, as you know, man, this stuff it's copycat. So if these guys go there, they tear it up, they do good. Okay, not Alabama, but you know what I'm saying. Ohio State will call, the Florida's a call, and next thing you know, now it's okay, former or good players now. Oh, they're good head coaches, and then it'll just be copycat. So I believe that's years down the line, but I believe as a whole, it is good for them as coaches, and it's good for the future of the HBCUs and bringing more attention to it in players.
I love that. I love that. So I'm gonna say it's mutually beneficial. It's mutually beneficial in a beautiful way, but I hope that it becomes one side beneficial. It's mutually beneficial because you got a college legend / NFL legend, both in Deion and Eddie George, both who I would consider really, 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 really good players.
Yeah. Is Eddie George Hall of Famer?
Deion Sanders. I don't know if he's in the Hall. I'd like to say he was.
Oh, sorry.
But just being able to attract that name at an HBCU is going to be beneficial to the HBCU, because anytime you can get a name like that, a household name, definitely in college, and obviously people know him from the NFL, but and same thing for Deion, to be able to get that type of name inside your program is great at any cost. And at the end of the day, I'm gonna be real. I'm not going to say that HBCUs had the best football ever, because they were devoid of talent. Overall, are there talented players? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, you get a lot of guys that want to go to the Alabamas. But when you start to bring these coaches in, they come with that clout. And what happens with that clout? It's called cash money. Cash money. Now I'm gonna show y'all a little $5 bill, and it's a $5 bill, right? But that little $5 bill is probably 5,000 times 5,000, because they played in the league, because they're black, because they have so many connections. Now you're talking about the school getting things that they haven't received before. We mentioned when Deion Sanders got his job, what kind of suits are they walking around in down there at Jackson State? Does anybody know? Michael Strahan donated.
Mm-hmm.
So facilities, you got people in the league. Oh yeah, I'm gonna support Eddie George. I played with him. Okay, we'll throw some money into him. Now you upgrade the facilities. Again, are you going to be able to upgrade them to become an Alabama? Absolutely not. But can you compete with some of those mid-tier, Arkansas's? I'm not going. Florida State, beautiful, but NC State, other places that are, I would say, mid-tier in the league, a Georgia Tech, and now you can steal some of those players. You may not steal an Alabama player, but you can start to steal those players. And as you foundationally build your program from them and put some people into the league, now you start to build long term. Now you can become, I'm not saying Alabama, but you can become the Alabama of that league. You can become the Alabama of Division I AA. And when you do that, you open yourself up to so much more. Obviously, we know that enrollment at Alabama, everybody wants to be part of Alabama. Everybody wants to be part of Alabama. Everybody that's near Florida or that went to Florida, they want to be a part of Florida. Same thing with Florida State. So they get an influx because their program is known and people attach to the program and become fans. And now your enrollment goes up. So that's more money for the school. So it's mutually beneficial. I want to continue to see it just because I think it's a wonderful marriage, I think, because what do they have to lose? What does the HBCU have to lose by hiring a guy like this? Nothing. We weren't talking about Tennessee State before this, were we? I mean, let's be real. But now we get to talk about Tennessee State. We weren't talking about Jackson State before this, but now you got eyes on it.
Yeah.
You had First Take talking about Jackson State.
Yeah. You know, something just dawned. I just thought about something too. Think about this conversation. You're Dion. You're Eddie George. Now, say you're them, Jarrell. You can go in someone's house and tell their mom, because I look like your son. I understand where your son came from. I understand.
Yeah.
So now, and I got there. So now, coming from the same, more likely than not, the same background. Okay, now. Okay, I got your son. I can help your son get to whatever. So now that conversation becomes easier instead of, okay, he goes to a HBCU and nothing happens. But no, look, I'm coming in. I got there. I know I can help whatever. Yeah.
That's so true. That's so true. Take us home, Dante. Take us home, man. What you got? What you got on it?
Man, I think it's Fabe, you basically just took exactly what I was gonna say.
Oh,
man,
my bad. Like, my bad.
Hey, but so this is what I would say. Fabe and I went to Grambling State, which is a HBCU. I was there trying to play football. Went there for a year, and seeing the facilities, it was definitely an upgrade from high school. However, like when you start to see all these other like universities and stuff like that, and you see their facilities and their stuff, it's crazy. It's beautiful. Even like the dorm, my dorm room, my dorm room. I was on the 4th floor. It had 8 floors on it, and sometimes the elevator work, and sometimes it don't. When you have issues like that, you have people that don't want to go to that. So that's why when I went to Seton Hill, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. The elevator works. Guess what? The water don't get turned off.
Yeah.
The lights work.
Or hot water. Remember that? You ain't had no hot water.
Take a shower in the cold.
Where you in the
what I didn't have a community bathroom. It was, I had computer in my dorm room. I didn't have to go all the way across campus to go to a computer room. So when you have stuff like that, it makes it a lot easier. And I think also too, the players are going. They want to go somewhere where they're they're going to be wanted, and also they want to go to a place where they're going to respect the person that's going to be coaching them. And so you got a Hall of and actually, and Fabe, you asked if Eddie George was. He is in the Hall of Fame. He got inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2011. So you got 2 Hall of Fame guys as coaches. And so it's like at the end of the day, if you're a running back or if you're a defensive back, and to be honest, if I was coming out and I was getting offers by Alabama or Florida State, and Deion Sanders came and said, "Hey, listen, I want you to come play at Jackson State." Guess what? I'm probably going to Jackson State. You know why? Because the guy that I probably, because I mean, when I was growing up, Deion was that I tried to emulate Deion as much as I could. I probably was more like Steve Atwater, but I tried to be like Deion. And I would be like, I want to be coached by the dude that actually played at that position. No shot at Nick Saban. Nick Saban's a great coach. However, Nick Saban ain't play no corner, and he sure ain't in the Hall of Fame for playing corner. So I want to go around that guy that's going to be doing that. And then on top of that, Jarrell, you mentioned people giving money to the program. Listen, they're going to have sponsors out the wazoo, whether it's coming from Nike, Under Armour, especially now with everything that's going on. People are trying to give money to these kind of places. And then, like you said, all the people you play with. Listen, if I don't know, we say I don't know, a handful of people just say, you know what, here we're gonna write you a $20,000 check. You know what? They can have a facility like Alabama. They could. And then on top of that, what you were saying, Fade, too, you going into those rooms, most likely, if you looking like us, the parents are going to feel more comfortable, most likely, going with somebody that looks like you, and especially if it's going to be a Hall of Fame guy, because it's like, man, listen, yeah, he's probably going to make sure that they take care of my child. Um, but I think it's great, man. I'm excited to see,
Hmm.
and I think more. I heard and I saw reports that Ed Reed is thinking about trying to coach, and
Wow.
Ray Lewis. And so if you get that, man, if Appalachia State could become D1, if um if Georgia State could be D1, bro, there's no thought in my mind that a Jackson State or a Tennessee State could be D1. And like you said, Jarrell, if you get these players in here and you ball, and I think they could flip a couple like five or 4 star players to come and play, and that's all you need. You just need a couple of those once a year, a couple. That changes the whole program. Um, so I think they can, and I think it's going to be good.
Let me so just in talking about that aspect of, whether or not to get them to the D1, if I'm not mistaken, I had a former player that ended up playing at Akron and starred at Akron, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's like the attendance or something, or
Yeah,
the size of
the
your
stadium.
stadium has to be a certain size. So I'll say this: we had a Cinderella story almost in NCAA this year in Coastal Carolina. And Dante, you remember we ran track and you didn't go. I went down to Coastal Carolina, and we were running there. And at that time, they were a D1 AA, right?
Yeah,
So Liberty University in Virginia was a D1 AA. Texas Southern was a 1 AA. So you got a lot of these schools that have brought it up. And when you're talking about, can they get into a conference like that, like the SWAC or Mountain West, or depending on where the school is, or something like that, once they get to that status, once they get some funds into that program, from these former players, I think absolutely, absolutely. So there's no bad that can happen from what's going on, but it would be nice to see them make progress. This year, obviously we just got Jackson State. Next year, we're going to have Tennessee State, we're going to have Jackson State, and if we can start getting coaches, and it doesn't even just have to be a black coach. I don't care if, Jimbo Fisher went down to one of these HBCUs. I remember Monday, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, they were talking about quarterbacks and who's prepped most and better equipped to come into the NFL. And they were talking about how well Jimbo Fisher, when he was at Florida State, how well the quarterbacks were well equipped as far as being able to go on the board and be able to do some of those things. So if you're taking talent and you get a Jimbo Fisher, or you get somebody, I'm not saying you can get him, but get somebody like that, I'm all for it. Randy Shannon, who was with Miami, you can get a guy like him. There's so many coaches out there that maybe they can start to make this HBCU turn into something magnificent in which everybody wins. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
No losers. Everybody wins.
I think also too, I'll make 2 points and then I'll be done. First point is I think also too, with more coaches like that, especially like ex NFL players becoming head coaches, I think that's going to help save HBCUs, because I know a lot of them are kind of struggling because they're not getting the funding and stuff like that, because a lot of kids are just not going there. But you start getting like people like that, and you start getting those personalities, people are just going to go just because of that. And then, like you said, they start winning and stuff like that. They're going to go just because of that. And then on top of that, too, the other thing, too, is I think that these the presidents of these schools, they're going to have to also they're going to have to open up their doors and be a little bit more transparent, because I know a lot of schools. I know, for instance, like FAMU, there was a lot of stuff that was going on that people were trying to like do stuff behind closed doors and underneath the table, and so they didn't want certain people in there because they didn't want to get exposed. So that's the other problem too, that that needs to be fixed before people start coming in and money starts coming in, and then now you look back and you're like, well, where the money at? And then it's not even handled properly because you don't have the right people in place. So that's the other issue that needs to be fixed too. But I think it'll be awesome.
I think so too. Like I said, I don't think there's a losing situation here at all.
Go ahead, Jarrell. Do you have any comments on your end?
No, I think both both topics we had today, I think are two topics that we could probably go on and on about, because I think there's so much to dive into. So trying to put it into a tight show, a little difficult, but man, I love it, man. I love it. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate everybody who tuned in. Just to let y'all know, I've been trying to pay attention a little bit more, working on the producer side, and I'm absolutely loving it. I'm loving the interaction. So we're here for you guys. So we appreciate everybody, whether you stopped through or whether you stayed through the whole thing. So go back and watch us. And like I said, if you guys can go back at all, check us out on YouTube.
All right. Fade, go ahead into your segment, Fade.
Okay, everybody. This last segment of the show. This is Deep Thought. This is where we take your guys' questions, comments, anything like that. Go ahead and throw them in chat and we'll talk about them. Also, I want you guys to throw in chat. Throw in something that you guys want us to talk about next week. I want you guys to choose it next week. So if it's a topic you want us to say next week, just say whatever it is and then say a topic for next week or something. But other than that, throw your questions in. But I do see, because the chat actually for once finally popped up on my end. for Facebook, and I remember
I'm
that
glad y'all get
name.
to see it.
Justin said Rashard Mendenhall. I
Yeah.
remember that
Yes,
name. So
that was him.
what happened to him?
So his rookie year, it, was he? I felt like he was talking or something, and
Yeah, but you know they have
and
that. They the Steelers and the Ravens.
yeah,
They,
and Ray Lewis said something, and they met in the hole, and Ray Lewis broke his collarbone or did something, put him out, put him out.
Dang. Was he nice?
Rashard Mendenhall was pretty
yeah,
good. I don't know if he said something just as simple as like he wasn't afraid
Oh.
of Ray Lewis.
He didn't know Ray
But
Lewis
I
out here
mean,
killing people?
sit down, little boy.
What else we got? Yeah, Bronny is gonna be a star. I agree.
Yeah,
I think he gonna be nice. I do think he has a little dog in him. You can see it. You can see he has a little dog in him.
he gonna be better than his daddy.
To be candid with you, I think that's his motivation. I
think he
really
can.
think that's his motivation.
If he can play as long as his dad, he'll be better than his dad.
And what else? Oh, where was that at? Justin talked about Tim Tebow. Listen, man, Tim Tebow was my dude, bro. That ain't him saying. Nah, man, you can't say that Tim Tebow couldn't put it together in the pros. That wasn't his fault.
Yo, all right, Jut, you tripping, Jut. Listen, I don't like Florida, but when Tebow was playing, I was like, hey, man, Florida State, y'all gonna have to take this L because I need Florida to win the national championship. Real talk. Hey, I'm just being 100. But nah, Tebow, Jut, come on, bro. Tebow, if he would have stayed in Denver, if they did not fire your boy, Tebow probably still be playing right now.
I agree.
Well, I take that back. Maybe not right now because he was a running style quarterback. So he probably, I think that he could have won a Super Bowl.
The only quarterback in history that only played good in the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter,
True
like craziest thing ever. Fourth quarter is game time. Oh, we playing the game? Oh, we playing a football game.
Exactly. But you know what though? The thing is, man, he was playing on a team that did not want him to succeed. Them cats was dropping passes wide open. It was just like what? What is going on?
I think I was already a Tebow fan, but became so much more support because there was so many people that just wanted him to fail. Yeah. Like literally to have your leadership put you out there to just be like, fine, y'all say you want Tebow,
here you go.
He fine, and you know what, man? Like, big ups to him because that's gotta suck to know like you really not wanted, and they just throw you out there, but you're like, I'm just gonna go and play. He just went and played.
Yep.
Thank you, Justin. Yes, he was dealt a bad hand in the NFL. 100%. 100%. I don't know what he's doing.
That's how it goes.
What is he doing?
Nothing. He retired.
Nothing.
He retired.
Oh.
Yep. He retired.
He ain't play
no more. Is that all, Fade?
Yeah. What you got?
All right, so before we leave and get off the stage, I have to do this real quick, man. Shout out to my cousin Mike. Shout out to Marcus White. They beat me in Madden, man. They the Kings. I made a bet. They beat me. Y'all the Kings, man. Fade, get mad so I can beat you. Yeah, you too. Get mad so I can beat you. Get that spot. Go ahead, Drill. Take us home, man.
Hey, man. Next week, we're going to holler at you. We appreciate you guys. Again, head on over to our YouTube page, Deep Third Podcast. If you're new to watching us on Facebook, go ahead and hit that like button in our Deep Third page on Facebook. And listen, we coming at y'all weekly. You just saw these two topics we had today. And with the initial fresh thought, fire today, baby. Fire today.
Oh, hey, before we go, hey, Judd, leave a question, man. I know you got something on your mind that you want to hear us talk about. Leave it. If you guys are on Facebook and you watching this, leave it on the Facebook page. As Fabe say, leave a question. Yep. We want to hear what you guys want us to talk about. So we want to hear what y'all thinking about, and we gonna talk about it. So leave it on the comment page, comment on the page, so we can talk about it next week. Sorry, go ahead, Gerald. Or Fabe.
Fabe, any last words?
All right, everybody, that'll do it for the Deep Third Sports Podcast. Appreciate you guys again for spending your Friday night with us. Make sure you guys share this with somebody if you guys found any entertainment so that other people can find us and help us grow. And that's all we got for you guys. Catch you next week.
Money. Yeah.